I said, well, what do you think it's worth? He said, I'll give you all the cash in the store.
I remember you telling me that, all the cash in the register.
And it was a little over $5,000 that he had. And I said, no, thank you.
Yeah, but you needed that validation.
Yeah, I needed that. But when he said that, I was like, yeah, I know it's worth well over that.
So you want to know why Goodwill comps all their video games now? Well, here's the answer. So this is Jennifer Thompson.
So this happened in 2013. I walked into the Goodwill off of Steel Creek in South Charlotte. And the way the store was laid out, this was one of the glass cases behind the checkout counter. Turn that corner, they had maybe 30 or 40 boxed NES games, all of them. Most of them still with the plastic wrap on them.
So you had options.
Right, I had a lot of options.
Right.
And all of them were $7.99. And I just, we didn't have a lot of money back then. I didn't have very much money in my account. We didn't have that much. That's why I went to thrift stores for stuff.
Right.
Well, I was looking at the different names and I saw that name. And I remembered an article that my boyfriend at the time, we weren't even married yet, had read on Yahoo years ago. It just dawned on me that someone had sold a stadium events game for like $9,000 or $10,000. And there it was, in its original wrapper, just stadium events sitting there in the stack.
And it had been opened, but it was still had the wrapper around, is what you're saying, or was it sealed?
It was still in its original plastic wrap, but just the top of the plastic had been broken. But the whole thing was complete. So I just was trying to control my emotion because I knew what it was.
Right.
And I'm trying to control everything because there's a couple other people looking at the game. And I had somebody come over. I asked him to pull that game out. I got a couple more just that I thought he would like.
Do you remember what the other ones were, by chance?
Maybe like a golf game or a couple other sport games.
No Mario stuff or anything like that?
I really don't even remember because it was all about that one at that point.
Yeah.
And I just...
You kind of went blank because you knew what you were looking at.
I did. I probably spent maybe 20 or 30 bucks and just went home.
Wow.
And as soon as I got home, we looked it up and that really was the game.
Yeah. So you've got a copy of Stadium Events at this point in pretty much pristine condition.
Well, right. It was perfect. Jeff, my boyfriend at the time, now husband, he's a little bit, are you sure this is the right one? Is this really it? So we said, okay, you got to find somewhere to validate this. So I found a game store in Charlotte. It was in the university area. I took it over there. I can't even remember the name of the store now. I walked in there and I had put it in like a gallon Ziploc bag. That's really all I had. I just didn't want to keep the dust off of it. I took the other games with me because I was kind of doing that on purpose. I laid those other games on the counter, had them look at them, just appraise them. They were more than $8, obviously. It's 30 or 40 bucks a piece at least.
Right.
And then I put that one on the counter. And he about loses his mind. And he says, do you mind if I take it out of the bag? And I'm like, sure. And then he proceeds to carefully, he asked me first, take every piece out of the box. And I'm watching him to make sure he doesn't mess it up. And lays it all out on the counter. And he says, do you mind if I take a picture? I'm like, okay, you can take a picture. I said, well, what do you think it's worth? He said, I'll give you all the cash in the store.
I remember you telling me that, all the cash in the register.
And it was a little over $5,000 that he had. And I said, no, thank you.
Yeah, but you needed that validation.
Yeah, I needed that. But when he said that, I was like, yeah, I know it's worth well over that.
That's awesome that you had self-control. So what happened once you got that validation and you left there? Because I think you had told me before you ended up in a broker situation where you reached out to somebody and they brokered the game and found the right collector.
So coincidentally, the pictures he took is what did it. his pictures are what apparently went viral because I don't know if he posted them somewhere, but those pictures got out. They were on like the Yahoo main page. They were on a website called Kotaku. I don't follow all those sites. I didn't back then. They were everywhere.
Well, and this is at a time where going viral wasn't really a thing yet in 2013.
Not like it was today.
Yeah, so the fact that your game got that much traction, that speaks volumes about what she had. You know what I mean?
Right. And then, we had considered eBay.
Mm-hmm.
They've got all those fees and things. And then we were contacted by gamegavel.com. This gentleman offered to list it for us, no fees. He wanted his website to get off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
He was vetting all of his buyers in a lot of detail. He had already sold a lot of games like this. He pretty much knew he had set buyers for this game. The process was going to be smooth. We kept in good contact with him. We trusted the process.
Okay.
And we listed it, and we sold it for $17,500.
$17,500, and it's probably worth $30,000 now.
Probably.
All these years later, but I think you did good on your return. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty good with that. Yeah, we were pretty good with it.
So Goodwill caught wind of this, and other thrift stores.
Yeah,
Because
they
if you'll
did.
think back, guys, if you're old enough to remember, there was a time you could walk into a thrift store and not quite find a $17,000 game, but you could find gold, as we say,
Yeah.
in the industry. And listen, it's not your fault. It would have happened eventually. I don't ever want you to feel guilty.
I know.
about
I do
that.
feel a little bad about this.
But you know what? The world needs to hear this story. So yeah, Jen, I always tell her like, hey, you're the reason that Goodwill's price their stuff now. Because they obviously want to know what they have and what they can get for it. And now with shopgoodwill.com and places like that, they're going to auction something like that off if they can even find it. So yeah, I love giving Jen a hard time about that. But at the same time, what a great story. Now, who bought it, Jen? He was a dentist, one of the biggest Nintendo collectors in the world, somewhere up north, or where was he at?
I think he was a dentist somewhere in the like Indiana, Illinois area.
Okay.
I believe that our copy of Stadium Events was his second copy,
Wow.
and it was in better condition than his first.
So it was an upgrade for him.
It was an upgrade for
It
him.
was an upgrade.
So somehow, this was years later, like 4 or 5 years after it sold, a journalist with ESPN magazine caught wind of the story, and he just wanted to do a follow-up. And he contacted us by email. He asked if he could come by, and we said, well, sure, no
awesome.
problem. And
Yeah.
he came by, and he did a whole article on the whole story. He had pieces on the buyer. He did a piece on us, our history and how that helped us financially, the whole thing.
Right.
I made him breakfast. He sat in our kitchen for quite a few hours. We had a real good time.
You kept all the literature and all the coverage. There was news channels, I believe, that were covering Jen at the time. And it's just such a unique part of gaming history because you got to touch something that most people never even dream of touching, and to be able to have that in your possession. And I think you were telling me, too, it helped out with your financial situation a little bit. You were able to get some stuff paid for. And
It was one of those things where you don't realize what you're going to come across every day. Yeah, we were not in the best situation in life, and, you go to Goodwill, for really anything for,
That you can use around the
baking
house or-
dishes and
yeah.
clothes and things like that. But I come across this game one day. We sell it for this.
Mm-hmm.
We did the smart thing. We put the money away, and in just under a year, we used that money as a down payment on a house.
that's awesome.
And believe it or not, we used the money for a down payment on a house. We bought a couple pieces of furniture for that house. And the little bit we had left over is actually still in a savings account. It's still
Wow.
there.
Still there.
It's still there to this day,
Well, I
10
wanna
years later. So you never know when good things are going to happen.
Right. God was definitely looking out for you that day.
Yes, sir.
And you still collect too. I mean, Jen's come in and bought. I've been here 4.5 years. She'll come in and She'll pick up some weird piece of Nintendo swag. So you're still a collector,
Sure am.
you and your husband.
Yep.
And I think that's awesome. It's such a small world. Who would have ever thought, that we would meet in this small community, which is another great thing about the community. And that's what it's about. And like I said, I'm honored to know you, and I think it's so cool that in North Carolina, such a great story with a great outcome can happen. So thank you.
It was life-changing,
That's
man.
awesome. Thank you.
Really? You think that was fine?
No, you did great. Yeah, you shouldn't have any worries about being interviewed or something.
Really?
Yeah, you did great.
Okay.
Everybody. Awesome. Thank you, babe. Thank you so much. You did great.